Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good afternoon, everyone. The honorable person, our lecturer, Mr. Dr. Khalidin SIPM Home, and all of my beloved friends who watch this video. First of all, let's thank to the Almighty Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, because of His blessing we are able to attend this virtual meeting. Secondly, salawat and salam also delivered to our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who has guided us from the darkness into the brightness. Now we will discuss about phonetics. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we discuss, we want to introduce ourselves. I'm Izzatul Jannah as the first speaker, ASHFARY MUKRIM as the second speaker, HAJAR ASWAD as the first speaker. I'm sorry, I forget. And Prisca Febrianti as the third speaker. And now let's open our discussion by saying Basmalah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you. The next agenda is discussion session. For the first turn will be given by the first speaker, Hajar Aswad. Time is yours.
Thank you for the opportunity. Number one, my answer is phonetics is a scientific study which deals with human organs of speech, speech sound, as well as speech production, or simply called by the sound of language. Number two, phonetics study about speech organ. The speech organ explains human speech organ when speaking using oral to communicate the message. To produce the quality of the sound of speech, we need an articulation of an action that produces sound by means of the spoken instrument, and articulation is to refer to a free speech organ that produces a part in the human voice. Next to speech sound, sound is a distinct type sound produced when on speak a language or can else be identified by speech. The production of speech sound as talk, it is the organ of human speech in its symbolic language that produce sound and that produce a variety of sound that follows in the consonant. Number three, phonetics tell us that a language is basically two kinds of sound, that is segmental and supramental. The segmental sound refers to smallest unit of lead consonant and vocal sound, and supramental refers to the vocal expression, pressure, and intonation samples. Further, we have to find out what in the consonant is. The consonant is the combination of sound between segmental and supramental sound. The basic sound produced by language sound may be described in which the mode is used to make the consonant. The consonant produced in the term of the articulation that can be understood as a particular location in the mode where two speaking organs work together in producing the consonant sound. For example, the tongue and teeth make the sound of the teeth. Manner of articulation described two things. That is the first, how the different organ of speech interact the another in producing consonant sound. The second, how to airflow is abstract the effect the production of consonant sound quality does. The manner of articulation is a determinant which present distinct feature a consonant sound in the English language, because it is possible to make several different consonant sound at the same place of articulation. Number four, vowel is shaping human speech correctly by how it distinguishes between sound. Speech and spelling native speakers of English also use the place of articulation and the manner of articulation of vowel sounds. Manner of articulation here refers to how the speech organ are functioned to produce vowel sound in terms of height, frontness, as well as rounding. In linguistic context, the term long and short are referred to as tenses and like vowels, respectively. These two terms are used to indicate the last number 5. Suprasegmental is something whose sound complement the combination of segmental that can be in the form of sound pressure, intonation, short, length, tone, and sound vibration that indicate certain emotion. Thank you.
Thank you, Hajar Aswad, for the explanation. Next turn is for the second speaker, ASWARY MUKRIM. Time is yours.
Okay, number one, my opinion is phonetics is a part of science in linguistic that studies or investigates the sound of language produced by human without saying the function of the sound as a differentiator of meaning in a language. Phonetics investigates sound from the point of view of speech or speech role. Number two, my answer is phonetics studies about speech organs, speech sounds, and the production of speech sounds. A. Speech organs. Articulatory phonetics is also called organic phonetics or physiological phonetics, which studies the mechanism by which human speech organ work in production sounds. B. Speech sounds. Acoustic phonetic is called the science that studies the sounds of language as physical events. The sounds are investigated from their vibratonality, frequency, and amplitude. C. Production of speech sounds. Auditory phonetics is the science that studies the mechanism of receiving language sound by the ear. Number three, my answer is consonant formation. The formation of consonant is based on four factors, namely the area of articulation, the way of articulation, the state of the vocal cords, and the pitch of air. Number four, my answer is vocal formation. Vowels are distinguished based on the height of the tongue, the moving part of the tongue, the shape of the lips, and structureless. Number five, my answer is suprasegmental. It has been mentioned earlier that the flow of speech is a series of sounds that are continuous and continuously alternated with short pauses or other short pauses, accompanied by loud and soft sounds, high and low sounds, short length and sound, and so on. In the flow of speech, there are sounds that can be segmented. So they are called segment sound, but those relating to loud and soft, short length, and sound pauses cannot be segmented. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ASWARY MUKRIM, for the explanation. Next turn is for the third speaker, Prisca Febrianti. Time is yours.
Thanks, moderator, for the opportunity given to me. Okay, number one. After reading the definition of phonetic from the two distinct sources, what is phonetic? Define it using your own words. My answer: linguistic is the study of language, and in learning a language, the first component that must be known is about phonetic or sound. Well, what exactly is phonetic? In my opinion, phonetic is the study of sound and how the sound process in a language, but the way it sound and the sound produced. There are three important components in phonetics, namely, the first, speech organ articulator, is an organ used by humans to speak. Second, speak sound or speak sound produced when speaking. The third, the production of speak sound is the process of how the sound is produced. Number two, Phonetics studies about speech organ, speech sound, and the production of speech sound. What does it mean? Explain your answer. Okay, in my answer, in studying phonetics, there are three things or components that need to be considered, namely, the first speech organ articulator, organ used by human to speak. This organ of speech emits sounds produced by the flow of breath. Speech organ not only produce speech sound but also a variety of sound. The second speech sound is the sound of speech or language, or it can be interpreted as the types of sound produced when speaking. The sound release can vary so that speech sound can also be interpreted as the variety of sound produced when we speak. The third, the production of speech sound is a process of how the sound is produced. It means the process of how the sound of the speech organ to produce sound or speak. Number three, consonant is the part of segmental sound. What is consonant and how are consonant sound produced in terms of place and manner of articulation? Explain your answer. In my opinion, a consonant sound is a sound that occurs because of the abstraction of air currents in some speech instrument. Consonant sound is described with part of the mouth is used to make certain English consonant, place of articulation, describe how the consonant sound is produced, manner articulation, and describe whether or not the vocal cords vibrate. Describe feature. Place or articulation may be understood as the specific location in the mouth in which two speech organs work together in producing a consonant sound. There are speak organs used to other consonant sound, namely the lips, the teeth, the alveoli, the hard palate, and the soft palate or phlegm, and four parts of the tongue: the tip, the blade, the body, and the root. For example, the tongue and the teeth come together in forming a dental sound. Manner of articulation describe two things, namely the first, how the different organs of speech interact one another in production consonant sound. The second, how the air flow is abstract the effect to the production of consonant sound. Quality. There are six manner of articulation, namely stop or place, prextivus, affricatives, nasal, literal or liquid, and approximant and graders. Number four, vowel is one of segmental sound. What is vowel and how are vowel sound produced in terms of manner and place of articulation? Explain your answer. In my answer, vowels or vowels are sound in spoken language characters by open vocal cords so that no air pressure collects above the glottis. To produce vowel sound, native speaker or English also use the place of articulation and the manner of articulation of vowel sound. The place of articulation here refers to what speech organs are required to produce vowel sounds, which only consist of the mouth, the tongue, and the lips. On the other hand, manner of articulation here refers to how the speech organs are functioned to produce vowel sound in terms of height, promptness, as well as rounding. William Gate 2015 is of the opinion that the production of vowel sound is English, but American and British. Involves first five main parameters, namely the first appearance of the mouth, the scone, tongue elevation, third position of tongue elevation, fourth lips shape, and the last duration of vocalization. Number five. Another sound which is found in human language is suprasegmental sound. What is suprasegmental sound? Please explain your answer by describe the kinds of the sound. Okay, in my opinion, suprasegmental sound are sound that accompany or complement the basic sound produced by its language segmental sound. Suprasegmental sound consists of three types, namely the first, word stress is a certain emphasis given to a unit of pronunciation, syllable, in individual words, not in phrases or sentence. The second, intonation. According to Beaker and Biswanger M 2004, intonation in English help to mark the function and the boundaries of a synthetic unit, e.g., whether a sentence function to as or to the informed age. In my opinion, intonation is a high or low voice or tone variation that accompanies segmental element in sentence. Please note that intonation is not only about high and low voice, but can also have different meanings. And the third, gesture is recognizing clear-cut boundaries between word in connected speech. According to Nikonal, Herman, and Krisik 2004, gesture is the manner of moving transition or mode of relationship between two consecutive sounds. It is the relationship between two successive syllables in speech. I think enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Rizka Febrianti, for the explanation. Last from me. Number one, in my opinion, phonetics is study about the sound that produced by human voice. So it's included a lot of things, including how speech produced and received. Next, number two, in my opinion, phonetics studies about speech organs means that organ that used when we produce sounds. Phonetics studies about speech sound means say the letter correctly in words. For example, letter C in cook. Okay, K is the representative of letter C, and then C in chair. So C is the representative of the letter C, or G in words of engagement. So the first G is the representative of the letter G. Then J is the representative of letter J. Okay. So in speech sound, we learn how to represent the letter. The introduction of speech means how to produce speech sound using speech organ. For example, when we want to make A sounds, we need to open our mouth. Next, number three. In my opinion, consonant is a letter that dependent. So they cannot be spelled or pronounced without vowel letter. For example, when we want to say P. So P, we need I to say this. So without vowel, it cannot be spelled or pronounced. So place of the articulation means the specific location in the mouth to produce the consonant sound. And then manner of articulation means how organ interact with another in producing consonant sound. So it's proposed to pronounce the words correctly. Number four, in my opinion, vowel is a letter that independent. So they can be spelled or pronounced without consonant letter. For example, when we want to say A, I, U, E, O. So that's without consonant. So they are independent. Manner of articulation means how organ interact with another in producing vowel sound, and it's proposed to pronounce the words correctly. So it's almost same with the system of the consonant or similar. And then place of articulation means the specific location in the mouth to produce the vowel sounds. Next, last number. In my opinion, supra-segmental sound include three aspects. First, word stress, and then intonation, and then juncture. The word stress means how to recognize the syllables of the words so people can easily understand what we say. Okay, next, intonation. Intonation here means intonation can affect the meaning of the words. So it depends on the speaker, like the emotion, attitude, gender of the speaker when we rising, falling, or remaining our voice. Last, juncture means when we say the words, we need juncture to recognize the meaning of the words because some words almost pronounced in the same way. Okay, thank you for all the speakers. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now we come to the disproof session. So you guys can disprove other opinion. Okay, And Hajar Aswad is back right now. Thank you. Maybe we because of the connection. So yeah, so it's because the network is down maybe. Okay, so you guys can describe other opinion, please.
Okay. For me, intonation is important because intonation is a hic or low voice or tone variation that accompanies segmental element in sentence. Please note that intonation is not only about hic and low voice, but can also intonation important.
For me, important because short length, tone, and sound vibration that indicate certain emotion. Okay.
For me, important because which is the science of the vocabulary of linguist sounds, phonemes, and their distribution. Thank you.
And for me, intonation is really important. That important because in our life we always need intonation. We use intonation all the time because yeah, it's affect the meaning of the words. Like when we rising, falling, or reminding our voice. So that's from me. Okay, maybe.
Okay, thanks.
Okay,
Back to
maybe that's
moderator.
enough. Finally, we are come to the last agenda. I would like to say thanks again for the speaker and all of the audience who watch this video. And the conclusion of this discussion is phonetics is study of speech organs, speech sounds, speech sound production. So to study phonetics as an English education student like us, like 4 of us, it's really important. And hopefully this discussion will give benefit for us. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.